Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Troy Richardson, and I am your gracious host tonight in this Zoom event that we are going to be talking with Mr. Michael Jackson, the founder of ActivePure, who has given us some of his time tonight to explain exactly what this technology is doing and the impact it is having across the country. And with no further ado, I'm going to introduce Mr. Jackson. And Mr. Jackson, you could just tell the people a little bit about yourself and why the country is so excited about ActivePure technology.
Okay, hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mike Jackson. Why don't you go ahead and mute the lines there, Troy, if you don't mind. Don't mute mine, though. Got a lot of background noise. Thank you. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mike Jackson. I'm speaking to you tonight from my office, which is during the fall here in Somerset, Wisconsin. I'll be down in Florida in the next few weeks, and then in Texas for the winter, and just spreading the word about ActivePure and the Air and Surface Pro all across the country. I've been in business 42 years. I started when I was only 24 years old, and I've never been involved ever in those 42 years with a movement and with a momentum like we have right now. This technology is brought to the world by Vollara, and this is our headquarters in Dallas, Texas. And the technology is developed in our research and engineering labs in this facility. This is a 500,000 square foot facility. This is where all of our engineering, all of our testing, all of our scientists, all the people that work to make this technology as good as it is happens here. We manufacture our technologies here, about half of them. The others are manufactured around the world, but they all come here to Bristol, Virginia before they go to our customers and our clients. We're working 3 factories right now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to keep up with what Troy talked about, which is an amazing growth. This year, since February, our company is 1,000% of what it was in February, 10 times bigger as a corporation. The good news about that is that we've got a lot of people like Troy and Robert and Liddy and Dr. Gonzalez and different people that are on this call right now that are helping the company spread the word to every nook and cranny, and that includes the restaurant industry. We don't specialize in any one particular industry, but we're doing really, really well in opening up schools again. We're doing really, really well in opening up churches and church schools, the nail salon industry. We just put 72 units in a chain of grocery stores, 4 units per grocery store. I just got off a call with the dental industry. We find that dentists are getting very excited about this technology. That's one of the real tough environments. You know, when you're under the drill and they're spraying water, there's germs and nasty stuff flying everywhere. And this technology can have a major impact on that. Now, we have different ways of showing the validity of this technology. The main way is with our scientific studies, and we're going to show you some of those real briefly. But this is a fun little way to do it. This is a simple Petri dish. And this particular Petri dish was in the master bedroom of my dad, Marvin Jackson. And he was suffering severely from asthma. He had used an inhaler every day through 68 years old, most of his life, and it wasn't going well. So we tested his bedroom, and you can see what we found. We found mold, bacteria, and viruses galore. We put one of our technologies in his bedroom, and we ran it, in this case, only 8 hours. Only 8 hours. And you can see we ran another Petri dish. And by the way, an interesting fact is that he didn't use an inhaler again until he passed away at age 87. So 68 to 87. Here's another Petri dish that I like to show people. I like to show people personal examples instead of something out of a book. This is my sister-in-law's house. And she had to have surgery, serious surgery. And when she came home, my wife was concerned that her house was going to be as clean as possible. This is the dish after only having that dish open 1 hour and then letting it incubate for 3 days. That's what we found. We went through her house and sanitized it from top to bottom. And I didn't get a second dish done, but I'll guarantee you it'll be the same exact as this one. It always is every time. If you have an interest in the restaurant industry and our technology, Troy will get a letter out to you. Troy, you can get that on my website, and you can take a look at some of the scientific tests and studies. You can watch a 2-minute and a 4-minute video, and it'll give you an example of how we can impact a restaurant, what we can do to make it a cleaner, healthier, safer environment, and at the same time create customer confidence and employee confidence. You know, when you go to a restaurant and you sit down to eat your meal, and you pick up the container of ketchup, have you ever wondered who touched that ketchup earlier today? And did they wash their hands? And the salt and pepper shaker. And the list goes on and on and on and on. What are we using to clean that surface in the restaurant, that eating table? Because a lot of people don't realize is when you take Lysol or other kinds of cleaners, you're only cleaning the top of that surface. That surface is very porous. And the viruses and the mold and the bacteria live down inside those pores. And as fast as that Lysol dries, that contamination starts coming back up. Our technology is different. Our technology is called the Air and Surface Pro. And it does 3 major things, 3 different that work synergistically together. 1 + 1 + 1 = 5, or 10 in this case. The first thing that this technology does is it creates what we called and invented, and other people are trying to copy now, bipolar ionization. And a simple way to say that is that if you could take a microscope, Troy, and look at the air in a restaurant, you would see that it looks like a snowstorm. There'll be particles floating everywhere. And that's dead skin and dander and dust mites and dust mite feces and all sorts of microbiological contamination is floating around. And think of the massive numbers of new people that come in that restaurant. You're literally breathing and sucking into our lungs other people's contamination. Well, this technology will take those contaminants out of the air 200 times faster than gravity. When you turn this machine on, it literally will drop 90% of what is in the air in only 30 minutes. The testing was done at the University of Cincinnati, the #1 aerosol study facility in North America. The second thing that the technology does is it sends out something that we have termed and named ActivePure. ActivePure comes out of the top of this device and it moves around the restaurant 200 times faster, 1,200 feet per second. It comes out of the top and it moves throughout the restaurant at 1,200 feet per second. And what it does is anything it touches, it could be a virus, which we're all concerned about right now. It could be a VOC, it could be a mold spore, but it will inactivate it to 90% literally on contact. And the other 9.9999% in the next hour. The third function of this technology is what we call a deep sanitizer, a deep cleanser. It works really, really good on smells and odors in restaurants or veterinarian clinics or any kind of a place that you might have different odors all mixed together. And at night, when you leave that restaurant, you can push that button and it'll go for 8 hours and do a super deep clean and make the restaurant smell amazingly fresh when your employees come in the morning. Now, the technology called ActivePure was invented not for our company or for restaurants. It was invented for the International Space Station. And that technology was used on the space station so that they could conduct scientific experiments. The space station had the same problem that your restaurants have. The people in the restaurant, the people in the space station were polluting with the outgassing of their bodies into that environment. Our technology goes out and cleans the air and cleans the surfaces, including, Troy, deep down into the pores where the contamination lives and regrows. So we've got a technology that is so powerful that it was the first technology ever to become certified space technology, which validates the fact that it was developed for outer space, but then brought back here. In fact, that went a step further. And out of 75 companies, 75 technologies in the world that have ever been inducted into the Space Technology Hall of Fame, we are one of them. We've been called one of the 7 most important technologies developed in space for here on Earth. What are some of those other technologies? My friend Michael Gonzalez is on the call. He lives out in San Diego. If I'm out on the I guess they call it the 407 or one of those freeways, and I'm lost and I need a GPS, thank NASA, because that's an example of space technology developed for here on Earth. If I'm out there in San Diego, Michael, with you, and we're watching the San Diego Chargers on DirecTV, thank NASA, because that's where that technology comes from, and that's where this technology has come from. Now, there's 2 things that are important for us to understand about the restaurant industry, because you're going to get hit in the restaurant industry with all kinds of air handlers and different filters and HEPAs. But here's the problem. If you take a traditional passive technology like a HEPA and you put it into an air handler, there is no way that those germs, bacteria, or viruses on that ketchup bottle are going to get to that HEPA filter, right? There's no way that that happens. Stuff doesn't jump off the floor or off the countertops or off the kitchen cooking area and get into that HEPA filter. Number 2 is a HEPA filter is way too porous. Even though it's a very good filter, the viruses are much smaller and they go right through. It's like a noodle strainer. The water goes right through. It's going to collect the big stuff, but it's not going to get them small viruses. So then what people do is they put UVC lights in. We can go up into our air handler. We put a nice UVC probe in there. That sounds really good, right? You've seen those UVC probes in different businesses sitting there. Here's the problem. Once again, that contaminant in the air of your restaurant or on the surface in your restaurant has to get within about 2 inches of that UVC light for 3 seconds. And that simply does not happen. That doesn't work. ActivePure is different. We just talked about this on the last call with your team. It's different. ActivePure acts like the sun. It creates a purifying plasma that was developed by NASA, certified space technology, and what it does is it neutralizes pollutants and contaminants in places other technologies cannot reach. They never go there. We deliver measurable, proven results. And we are moving into all these industries like the nail salons, like the barber shops, like the churches, like the schools, and now the restaurant world, When that technology is sitting there and people see it, and there's a sticker that says this facility is protected. In fact, I was just in a restaurant the other day, and it had a big thing just like that that said this facility is protected. So people ask all the time, well, where is ActivePure used? A better question to our restaurant owners is, where is it not being used? The fact is that it's moving throughout the world. Here's the good news. We've got millions of these systems installed. But the fact is that we haven't even touched a grain of sand on the beach in terms of what the full market potential is. So we're looking to move this technology, Troy, into the restaurant world. And we have a real strong plan to do so. And we're excited to work with you, Troy, on that plan. Now, here's a few charts and graphs that I'll finish up with. I told you that I've been quite successful in the school world. This is in Pennsylvania and Indiana, and this shows the reduction of absenteeism from colds and flus. And you can see in 2- and 3-year studies, we reduced absenteeism by 80%. In another school in Ohio, we did a 3-year study where they had a rash of staph infections in the gymnasium. We were able to reduce staph infections to 0 with ActivePure technology. Now, I want to show you how effective this technology is, Troy, and to our restaurant purveyors, how effective this technology is on anything and everything that it's ever been tested on. First, we have coronaviruses. Those are RNA viruses. In the coronavirus RNA virus family, we ran this technology in an FDA-compliant laboratory using FDA protocols. Now, it's important to note, you don't fake FDA studies. Companies are out there making a lot of claims, and most of them are false, and they're going to be found out. When you go the FDA route, you know they're accurate. You can't fudge these in any way, shape, or form. And you can see RNA viruses were reduced by 99.49s in 60 minutes. But look at this. What if you go from RNA viruses to DNA viruses? Essentially the same result, 99.993% in 1 hour. Okay, let's take a look at Staphylococcus, gram-positive bacteria. Same result. Isn't it good to know, Troy, in the restaurants that you're working with, that it doesn't really matter what contaminant, what flu, what germ, what bacteria, it doesn't matter what comes in, because it works the same on all of them. Here's gram-negative bacteria. Same result. How about mold? Mold is a huge problem. And restaurants have lots of humidity. And you get mold that grows like crazy everywhere. Look at this. 60 minutes. 99.99% destruction of aspergillus, of mold. Very, very cool results that we can share with the world. Here's one that's big for doctors' offices and anywhere people go that are sick. Mrsa infections. We were able to reduce 99.9% in 24 hours Mrsa on surfaces and in the air throughout the test facility. This one shows how fast, remember I said earlier, Troy, how fast this technology takes those submicron particles out of the air that you can't see. In 30 minutes, the technology reduces 90% of contaminants in the air. The University of Cincinnati said that it was 50 times more powerful than any filter they've ever tested. And this isn't a filter. This is a purifier. It doesn't rely on filter technology. Now, we're talking about hotels tonight. And if you take a look at a real nasty environment to keep clean, it's kind of similar to hotels to restaurants. Hotels have lots of new people coming all the time. And one of the dirtiest things in a hotel is what? The television remote. Television remote. Okay. We tested the buttons on the television remote, and you can see we went from 4,000. Let me go back one. We went from 920 fungi colony forming units on the television remote to 0 in 24 hours. And 30 days later, in the same hotel room, still 0. Desk surface, carpet, HVAC system, light switches, door handles, it doesn't matter. Mold, this is bacteria. Same thing, same result. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight, we've got a real answer for people that are in business right now. One of the things, in fact, let me jump back on my share screen here because I want to show you one more thing. Let me jump over here. Sorry about that, gang. Sometimes I push too many buttons. This is a little sticker that we put in restaurants. Sometimes they're at the cash register. Some restaurants have put them right at the tables where people eat. Certified for continuous air and surface sanitization. You're being protected by ActivePure technology, as seen on PBS. Really, really strong, having point of sale messaging for the customers there. I'm going to go through 2 more slides, then I'm going to be done, Troy, and I'll be happy to answer questions if you have them.
Yes, sir.
How does ActivePure work? Troy, all you need to do is read this to someone that owns a restaurant. Units, we have about 70 different units throughout our family of companies. And units with ActivePure technology pull free oxygen and water molecules that are already in the air through ActivePure's patented honeycomb matrix. The technology creates these powerful oxidizers. We call them ActivePure molecules. They're then released back into the room out of the machine where they seek and destroy DNA and RNA viruses, including the big one, SARS CoV2, that causes COVID-19. There's never been anything that we've tested it on that it hasn't worked. Now, this is a particular test on ActivePure. In this case, we used one of our machines, one of the 70 machines that has ActivePure in it, and we didn't want to test bipolar ionization. We didn't want to test activated oxygen. We only wanted to test ActivePure, and so we ran our hydroxyl blaster machine. It was done at MRI Global, an independent FDA compliant lab. Now remember, this ActivePure that we tested in the hydroxyl blaster, ActivePure is the main component of every machine that we have, including the Air and Surface Pro system. You can see that we reduced in 3 hours, 93.27%, 6 hours, 97.95%, and we got 4 log kill in 7 hours. This is the message, Troy, that you want to give to your restaurant owners. We can make the air safe and clean and sanitized and healthy. We can make the surfaces clean and healthy and sanitized. We can create public relations programs that will help the restaurant owners convey that message to the customers and the employees. So Troy, that's the message that I have for your people tonight. And I'll leave it up to you to see where we go from here.
Michael, let me just, wow. You know, and if you've ever spelled wow backwards, it still comes out wow. That's just some amazing, vital, important, useful, impactful information. What you just, you gave visuals that I could clearly see how this is having the enormous impact it is around the country. It's clear with your personal stories showing the vials, that just amazes me to see that type of bacteria in such a short amount of time. And you mentioned the hotels, because some of these restaurants are actually in hotels.
Sure.
So not only do you have the bacteria in the restaurants, but you're having the bacteria coming from the room. So it's like double trouble when you enter a hotel. So thank you for covering that. And you also mentioned the schools. And I believe we had over 2,000 units. Can you talk a little bit about that?
We actually, I'm going to mute you, Troy, for a second there because it's bleeding back on me. There we go. Yeah, Troy, we just delivered, we took an order for 2,000 units, and this was a brand new distributor that joined me about less than 4 months ago. Her name is Lydia, and she got an order for 2,000 units for Washington State for schools. The first 500 are delivered, and the next 3 semi-loads are on the way right now. This is becoming more and more normal. We're seeing, we just sent 1,480 units to Patterson, New Jersey. They were delivered a couple days ago. They're installing them in their entire school system. One system handles 3,000 square feet really effectively. And most restaurants, a single unit or 2 would suffice. This is a multifaceted machine for restaurants because there are so many issues in restaurants. You've got grease in the air, you've got humidity, you've got mold growing, you've got the virus and bacteria issue. So this technology is really strong for restaurants. We recommend using an extra pre-filter pad on the back of the machine with restaurants because it helps keep the inside of the machine clean. You're talking at the retail price, a $1,499 investment for a restaurant. And if you think about what that does for them, it allows them to stay open. It allows them to create confidence for their customers. It allows them to protect their employees. It allows them to reduce nosocomial cross infections. So $1,500 is not a lot of money. When you're in business for yourself and you're literally being shut down. I own a chain of CBD centers across the country. We're putting 30 in Tennessee right now. And they're brick and mortar businesses like a restaurant. Hey, it's critical. It's critical that your customers have confidence or they're not coming in. So anytime you advertise, when people walk up to the door and they see the promotional materials that say, hey, we keep it safe in here, we keep it healthy in here, maybe even showing a before and after Petri dish. There's some powerful things, Troy, that we can do. And so I want to thank you for letting me share this technology with people that you're associated with. And I would think that Friday night might not be the best night for you to host one of these things. With restaurateurs, I think that maybe an afternoon or even a morning before they open up might be good, but I'll leave it up to you to decide when you want to do some of these again. Okay, Troy?
I definitely appreciate you for that advice. And, you know, as a man with your wealth of knowledge, I'm going to take heed to that message you just gave me there. But I just want to ask you one last question before I let you go, because we're talking about taking care of the facilities. And I'm sure some people are wondering, how does this translate? How do you keep your family safe at home?
So we follow a program that we call clean, disinfect, and protect. So cleaning a surface with something that is going to get deep down into the pores is still a good practice in your home. You do that one time. So you're going to clean the home environment. Then that's going to help you to disinfect in a one-time basis. Then your ActivePure, Troy, comes in. And the ActivePure actually comes out and goes down into those pores. It goes and touches every surface, and it's going to protect, it's going to keep it safe so that contamination doesn't fester and just come back. You have somebody that comes in your house that might be sick, and they're coming in, they're coughing or sneezing or whatever. You've got your protect. It's almost like an umbrella in your home environment, protecting your home environment at all times, every square inch. You can't possibly do that, Troy, with sprays and wipes. You'd have to touch every surface and every square inch of air, and that's not possible. This technology will go, and here's a little buzzword that we use that you can remember, Troy. We send the solution to the pollution. Okay? Instead of trying to take the pollution and somehow getting it to magically get on a magic carpet and come to the solution, the pollution doesn't move. The pollution stays there. So we send this ActivePure out and clean it up at the source, and that's what's going to keep your family and keep your home safe, Troy.
Wow. Well said. Well said. We're going to drop the mic right there. Mr. Jackson, again, appreciate all this knowledge that you just gave us. Really appreciate it, because I know it is going to impact lives, and these restaurateurs, they need hope. Over here in the DC area, just saw them on the news. They need hope because they're talking about closing again because of the spike of cases going on. So this message is going to be right on time and definitely well received. And again, thank you, and thank your family for lending to us for a little bit of time tonight. And we're going to end the recording now. And anyone wants to stay on and just chat a little bit, we can always do that. I don't know if Mike has a little time, but I will be here. And Mr. Jackson, thank you so much. Have a tremendous evening and a great weekend.
Thank you. This is my 7th Zoom meeting today, and I'm going to go have dinner.
Enjoy.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. Hey, Mike. Hi, Jenny.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Cecilia. Hi, Robert.
Bye. Thank you.
Appreciate you all. You guys are awesome. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, bye, Mike.
Bye-bye.
Wow.